Principles of left-hand technique on the guitar. Number one, use a straight wrist. Using a straight wrist allows blood to flow to the fingers, which they need to do their job. It also is for health. It avoids repetitive stress injuries like carpal tunnel syndrome and tendonitis. Number two, use your fingertip. The bone of your finger is closer to the tip of your finger than it is the pad. Okay, the pad is not good to press with. The fingertip is. It is easier to press a string with a hard surface like your tip of your finger than it is a soft surface like the pad. And sometimes I am so far onto the tip of my finger that my nail of my finger is digging in to the wood of the fingerboard. That's how extreme I mean about fingertip. This is one out of two rules that always should be checked. If you get a buzzy bad sound on the instrument, like, first thing to ask is, am I using fingertip? Rule number 2B, related to the fingertip rule, perpendicular downward pressure from the fingertips. And so to get the fingertip, you're going to have to get a good arch in your fingers like this, not pulled back like this. The most efficient way to press a string on the guitar is from a directly above. This is the most efficient application of force. So even if we're holding the guitar sideways, we still need to think about mimicking that downward pressure. So arch the fingers, perpendicular downward pressure. By the time your fingers contact that string, should be almost like the last joint of your finger from the forward knuckle should be almost straight down. Rule number 2C, related to the prior two rules. To do all of that, you're going to have to create space between the palm of your hand and the back of the neck. Do not grip the back of the neck of the guitar like this, okay? Usually the reason why beginners do that is because they lack the musculature to hold the neck properly, and so they avoid that pain by gripping like this. But if you never hold it properly, you'll never build the proper musculature or develop good technique. So space between the palm of the guitar, the palm of the hand, and the back of the guitar neck. Rule number 3, close to the fret. Play close to the fret. It is easier to press here than it is here or here, okay? And you can demonstrate to yourself that this is true by just pressing with the same amount of force and just sliding your finger within a fret on one string and testing at what point the note actually starts to sound. So I'm not going to press any harder. I'm just going to change where my finger is in the fret. So you notice at a certain point the note sounds, okay? So it takes way less force to press right behind the fret than it does in the wrong spot. This is the other rule that a beginner should always check when you get that buzzy bad sound is, am I close to the fret? The other was fingertip, right? If you get that buzzy sound, check two things immediately. Am I close to the fret? Am I using my fingertip? Usually those rules will solve 90% of problems with bad tone production in the left hand. Rule number 4, active counter pressure from the thumb. This is sort of related to the rule about creating space in the back of the guitar between the palm of your hand and the guitar neck. You'll notice that every note on the guitar is a small pinch from behind. If the thumb is off the neck and I press, this neck is going to move. And so it doesn't have to provide a lot of counter pressure. I'm not squeezing, holding on for dear life, but the thumb has to be there. The only exception to the thumb being in the center of the neck back here and sort of imagining pinching through the neck for the first and second finger, the only exception to that is bending. All right, so sometimes when you bend, it's easier to get the leverage if that thumb comes over the top of the neck. That's the only time you can really break this rule about not palming the neck and active counter pressure. Finally, relax your shoulders. Really relax every muscle you're not using to play, but pay special attention to the shoulders because they influence the rest of the arm. And so really try to drop those shoulders and relax. Those are the 7 principles of left hand technique on the guitar.